Today I'm continuing the teardown of my LSA short block out of my 2010 Cadillac CTS-V. I've got to get it tore down to the bare block so I can get it shipped off to Rick Crawford for him to use as a core. He's currently building my new short block, so more on that later. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and start tearing some more stuff down on it. Next thing I'm going to do is get all these ARP head studs out of the way. Those ARP head studs, they have a Allen in the center of them. A little bit hard to see on the big ones because there's some oil in there. So it is if I can get it to focus, it's a 1/8 inch Allen on the top, and then the lower ones are a 3/16. So I've already loosened them all up with my ratchet. And next, I'm going to use a pneumatic to take and spin them all out real quick. So let me get that whipped out. All the head studs are out. Next thing I'm going to do is finish pulling out these lifter trays and lifters. It's just a 10 millimeter, 110 millimeter that holds in each lifter tray set. We're going to take these out. These have to come out before you slide out the cam. Okay. All right, and then now we're going to pull out the lifter tray and whatever lifters come with it. You'll get a few usually that comes with it, but in this case none came with it. Usually I got about 1 to 3 on those others. Set my ratchet out the way. All right, so then you can take your magnet, take it, put it down there, and you can use it to pull your lifter up and out of the bore. And put it right in there. It's very oily, very slippery. All right, so you get the idea of it. The timing cover off, for those wondering, that sensor on the front, you have a sensor there. That's just a little pigtail off of it. That is for your cam position sensor. This is what the back side of it looks like. Little tip, always take your bolts that you're taking off of something, put them in a baggie, and then go ahead and write with like some tape what those bolts actually go to, so that way you don't lose and misplace them. And try to keep a bunch of your baggies of bolts all in a certain area, so maybe a workbench or wherever you have. So that's just why I do. I try to keep up with them. So take off this gasket. All right, so now we've got, this is a C5R timing set and chain. Got your oil pump here. So I'm going to take off this oil pump, get it out of the way, and then we'll work on getting the timing set off and the chain guide that's in there. The 4 oil pump bolts out. So we can slide off our oil pump. As you can see, you've got different teeth in there, and that's what lines up with this right here, and that's what spins your oil pump. So your dipstick tube, your oil pickup tube goes off right here, off the bottom of it. So now with that out of the way, now next thing to do will be take off that top sprocket and also take off the chain guide and get the chain and that top sprocket off. All right, so now I got the 3 cam sprocket 10mm bolts out. Also took out the 2 13mm chain guide bolts off. So now this comes off the dowel pin there on the cam. Okay. All right. So now your cam sprocket's off, cam chain is off. Next thing to do is to take out these 4 Torx star bit bolts so the cam plate will come off. All right, now the bolts are out of the cam plate, so we can take that off. That's what that looks like. And then now we're down to the cam. So the easiest way to get your cam out, if you don't have any special tools, is to take your cam gear, put it back up here, and then go ahead and start your screws back in. After you start your cam bolt screws back in, then you can use your cam sprocket as a handle as you're sliding it out. So let me get this set up and then I'll get ready to slide out. All right, so now I've got the cam sprocket bolts back in, so it's on the cam, so I can nice and easy pull the camshaft out. You want to go real slow so you don't nick any of the lobes. There it is. The Dedicated Motorsports She-Gone cam. All right, moving right along with the teardown. We'll take one more look at this cam. Dedicated Motorsports, great company, great guy, Matthew Owen. She-Gone cam is a 233 intake duration, 248 exhaust duration, 629 intake lift, 615 exhaust lift on a 116 LSA with plus 4 degrees ground in. That's the cam specs on the She-Gone cam. So the next thing to do is I'm gonna remove the valley cover. Gotta remove all of these 13mm bolts. And for those wondering, that sensor back there, that's your oil pressure sensor back there at the top of it. And you've got a port here at the front so you can run that to your catch can. That's what the Mighty Mouse catch can was hooked up to on this car by the previous shop and owner. So it went from there to the Mighty Mouse catch can to take the vapors off and the pressure off of the crankcase area down there and take it to the Mighty Mouse catch can, and then went back to a port on the intake side of the blower. So I'm gonna take off the valley cover next. All 11 13mm bolts are out of the valley cover. Can now get that out of the way. As you can see, this is what the bottom looks like. Got a plastic little deal there that goes over to that port. Then you've got these standoffs here. Those are utilized like for displacement on demand type stuff. There you can see down through there to the rods. All right, so the top part is all finished. Now I gotta rotate the engine upside down, start taking out rods and pistons. All right, I've got the engine flipped over and I'm going to start taking off the rod end caps. Take off the end caps so then I can push the piston and rod out the other end of the block, out of the hole, and take them out one at a time. Whenever I need to go get the next one to bring them up to the top, I just put the crank bolt back in the crank and hand start it, get it down to where it's tight, and just rotate it with a ratchet wrench. So that way you can just bring them up as you need to get to them. So y'all may have seen my video about the main bearing failure and those main bearings, how they went bad. I have not taken off any rod caps yet. So normally you don't have a failure there, but it's going to be interesting to see. So I'm going to start taking them out. Got the first rod cap and rod and piston all out. For those wondering, these are actually 11mm bolts holding it in. The bearing itself really doesn't look too bad. It looks like it's got a little mark there in the center, but you can't feel anything with your fingernail or finger at all. And this is the bottom side of the rod. Again, you can see a little something, but if I try to run my nail through it, I can't feel anything with my nail. So here's the piston. That's it. That's what it looks like. So I just pushed it out of that hole there. There you can see the tip of the oil piston squirter. Down there, that sprays at the bottom of the piston. Which again, those are getting deleted on the new short block. So that's what number 1 looks like. All right, I got the second one out, and this one actually has some more damage to it other than the first one. So this is piston and rod number 2. So this is your first piston on the passenger side of the engine. And it's got some heavy wear in the middle. So there's that. And then bottom of the rod, same deal. Definitely some wear. That you can kind of feel. Now, on the crank itself, can't really feel much. You can see just a little bit of marking, but overall, it feels pretty smooth. Still has a good coat of oil on it too. So, all right, time for 3 and 4. All right, here's end cap number 3. Let's take a look at it. It's got some wear on it as well. Doesn't look, yeah, I can feel it with my nail. Doesn't look quite as bad maybe as the last one that had some color to it. All right, now I'm gonna push this piston out. We'll take a look at it. Here's the bearing to go with it off of rod number 3. So driver's side, cylinder number 2. It looks about the same. So it's got some wear on it, and the crank doesn't really look bad at all, just mostly bearing wear. All right, going to number 4. All right, number 4. Number 4 doesn't look too bad. That's probably second best to that number 1 that I pulled. So there's the rod bearing. Again, it doesn't look too bad. Crank doesn't look too bad. Here's number 5. Number 5, not too terrible. Rod end of it, not too terrible. I mean, it doesn't look like brand new, but not bad. Well, then I went ahead and I got this one loose. We're about to find something here. Take a look at this. Went to take it off and bam. That bearing is not supposed to be out of there. So that means number 6 spun a rod bearing. Let's see what this other part of this bearing looks like. There's the other part of it. And let's see. There's the other portion of it in the rod. So, yeah, that one definitely spun from the looks of it. But damage appears to have really been done to the bearing itself and just a little bit to the rod itself, or to the cap. The rest of it isn't too bad. Let's see what we get with 7 and 8. We got some more damage coming up. Number 7. This is what the cap end looks like. But it spun here. Bearing's not in there. It spun on this side. So it actually, when I took it out, fell down here, floor. This is the back side of the bearing. Yep, so number 7 spun. Set that there for now. And number 8. Number 8 also spun. Man. Y'all let me know what you think. I really was not expecting to find 3 spun bearings. 7, 8, and 5 spun. And number 2 was that one that showed quite a lot of wear on it as well. So y'all let me know what you think in the comments of all this engine damage. And I tell you what, hit that like button and subscribe to help me out. I got a lot of parts to buy. I need all the help I can get. Y'all hear me? Alright, so that's 7 and 8. So for today, that's going to conclude our short block stock bottom end LSA teardown for today. So there's still a little bit more to do, but I made a lot of headway today. So it's almost there. Gotta take out the main caps. Take out all those main caps. Gotta take the flywheel off. Take off the back plate. It's kind of similar to the front timing chain cover plate. And then after that's all off and the main caps are off, that whole crank will come up and out. And then it'll be about there. Got my knock sensors to take off. I'm pretty much there. So anyways, y'all please help me out. Give me a like, give me a subscribe.